When I was younger, I used to call myself a National Socialist. And I did when I was in prison. And the prisoners that I spent the most time with were, skinheads, so-called neo-Nazis. And I was in a prison, actually a former German concentration camp, Polizeigefangenenlager Grini. It was transformed to a prison in Norway, or originally it was a prison for women, then they changed it into a concentration camp during the war, and then it turned into a prison again. Anyhow, the inspector in that prison was a National Socialist, and he liked me. He gave me positive special treatment. And one of the things he did, he used to call for me to come to his office, and we would just sit there and chat. He would show me his German World War II belt with Gott mit uns on, and he was quite a character, really. And during one of these conversations, he argued that I shouldn't socialize with these skinhead types, because he argued that they were no good. And he asked me about this guy, this self-proclaimed National Socialist. Why is he a National Socialist? If he had been in a movie about National Socialism, he would barely get the role of Untermensch. And at the time I thought that was pretty harsh, talk about cutting down a person. But he was right. And that is my problem with ethno-nationalism, or so-called racialism. The problem is that even if you are of the right race, that doesn't mean that you are any good. It reminds me of my democracy video, where I talked about how the only merit you need to have, the only quality you need to have in life in order to vote, is that you're able to survive until you're 18. You don't need any qualities other than that. And in racism, the only quality you need is to have a certain skin color. That's it. You don't need to be honest, you don't need to be courageous, you don't need to be intelligent, you don't need to be anything. You only need to have the right skin color or be of the same race. And that's no good. That's not a positive, intelligent ideology. In order to make ethno-nationalism or racism sensible, you need to add something to it. And this is where I think Julius Evola, the Italian guy, was right. He talked about the aristocracy of the mind. I think it was the mind or spirit, I don't remember. It's been many years since I read his books. But he talked about the aristocracy of the mind. And that's important. You're not worth anything because of your skin color. As you probably know, each and every human race on this planet produces individuals of good quality and of poor quality. And we, Europeans, we're no different. Even though some people are white on the outside, racially, they're white. Spiritually, they're not. Morally, they're not. Mentally, they're not. They're only Europeans on the outside. And if you're an ethno-nationalist, you're fine with that. You accept them. even though they are nothing like you. Morally, spiritually, intellectually, they belong to another group. But they are accepted by ethno-nationalists because they're white. The criteria that they have to accept people is color, they're white. Just like democracy, if you're 18, you can vote. In ethno-nationalism, if you're white, that's good. But not all whites are good. And then we come to the problem with ethno-nationalism, with racism. And that is the fact that it attracts the Europeans who belong to the lower spectrum of intelligence. Because they, not only of course, but they are especially attracted to racism. Because racism is what makes them become important. They don't have any other qualities. Their only quality is being white. So they will of course embrace an ideology where being white is the sole criteria for acceptance. I'm of course not saying that all races are stupid. I'm not saying that this is why people are attracted to racism. But I am saying that in racism you have a reason for especially dumb people to join in, so to speak. And we see that happening. We see a lot of complete idiots in these right-wing movements. And we see more complete idiots in that movement than we see complete idiots in other movements. So when others argue that a lot of racists are idiots, loser idiots, they're right. A lot of them are. So to conclude this, being white shouldn't be enough for any group. You need quality people, and you need to reject those who are not of any quality.